So man, House of the Dragon was a very good episode. Depends on how you view um Game of Thrones, right? So people always have to go into Game of Thrones knowing it's a political like intrigue type show. So you are looking at it in a sense of being like intrigued politically. Now it doesn't mean that you have to like politics, but you have to like scheming and undermining and stuff like that. And this episode does that. Now, I will always tell people who's shit. My bad. Somebody just killed themselves by jumping off a building in Cyberpunk. I was just walking, and nigga just fell. But so where um in this episode, I always try to tell people like you are rooting for no one in this House of Dragons because everybody is the enemy. Everybody has that. You rooting for if you rooting for somebody, you rooting for their cause. But their cause is not good. Nobody cause is good. Um,
Yeah, I'm assuming that that's the reason why the Targaryen bloodline damn near got wiped out.
yeah, that's the reason the dragons got wiped out. So yeah. Um, so in this episode, Daemon came back to the King's Landing. They actually first start off with because like we found out that Jaehaerys that look he told Rhaenyra whatever her name is you gonna get married regardless, so start picking. He like I'm not gonna pick for you, you can pick for yourself. So she is getting courted by all these men and things of that nature. And the theme of this episode is freedom to do what you want to do, and that's all kind of Rhaenyra wants, just the freedom to do what she wants to do. Um, but I get to that a little bit later. So she ended up coming back home like, hey, none of these niggas suits me. So there was as they get back to King Landing, um Daemon Targaryen flew past with his dragon and bumped the ship because he's a showboater. So Daemon came back as the victor, and they called him the king of the stepstones or something like that because he destroyed the crab feeder in 2.5 seconds. And he told his father with a simple words, he like, look, add this to the throne. And he threw the crab feeder's hammer. He said, put it on the throne. And not his father, but his brother was happy. They threw a feast for him. Daemon still don't want no part of like the royal court and stuff like that. But Daemon is scheming. So he saw Rhaenyra. He came up with Rhaenyra and asked her, what's wrong? And she was basically saying, like, look, I don't want to end up like my mom to only just push out babies and to have sex for babies and do all this. I don't want to end that way. And that nigga came up with a plan. Fucked up plan, but a plan. And he told her, he's like, man, people don't just have sex for, for baby making. Yeah, for reproduction. Like some people have sex that I like it. You can have freedom in doing the things that you don't want to do and that type of stuff. So so you kind of get that Rhaenyra is kind of falling for her uncle, by the way she looks at him. That's when stuff started getting creepy. And
Daemon,
that's why my name in the chat, Daemon, yes.
Daemon's her uncle. Oh, I thought that was her brother.
No, that's her uncle. So Daemon, she goes back to her room after all this other talk and stuff like that, and Daemon goes to her. Actually, let me say this. So her best friend that married the king, that whole thing I talked about last episode, she is kind of like the opposite of Rhaenyra, in which she don't get to choose anything that she does. She has to keep making babies for the king. She had to do this stuff for her father because of her name. So she kind of like, damn, I'm doing this for the sake of the realm, and it sucks. But Rhaenyra gets a little note from her uncle that because the Red Keep is full of passageways. Where they live is full of passageways that no one can see and stuff like that because of a king before them called Balon or Magor the Cruel. I mean Magor the Cruel, and he created this castle, and everybody who created that castle he ended up killing because he don't want nobody to know how this shit works. So so Daemon at the middle of the night tell, hey, check it out. So he took his niece um out on the town. He put a little hat over her head. It's gonna get weirder, Cam. So be prepared for that. They actually spoiled the show. They spoiled Rhaenyra's fate in the show, which was really done well if you know how she dies. Because she went to this witch and the witch asked Rhaenyra, "Do you want to know how you will die?" And Rhaenyra didn't answer her, but the next shot was a dragon breathing fire out his mouth. And Rhaenyra dies because her. Do you want to get spoiled? Do you care?
I think they said that they technically already spoiled it in Game of Thrones,
Yeah,
right?
in Game of Thrones, her little brother, that's a baby right now, sicked his dragon on her and killed him and killed her. So that's how
Damn.
she dies in the show. And
Her
that's what they
little
show.
brother.
Yeah, her little
Damn.
brother, sick. Cause it's a very like that. Once that Targaryen Civil War start, niggas start dying, like dying. But so she sees this in Daemon. So Daemon is trying to manipulate her without saying many words at all. He's just telling her to look, and he takes her to a play. And that play is they do it a lot in Game of Thrones, but it's a play of like events with Jesterly. So it shows that the town folks don't like Rhaenyra's claim to the throne because she's a woman. And he was basically, and she's like, I don't care what these people think. Commons like their opinion does not matter no more. And he was like, their opinions do matter. You will learn this, that their opinions matter more than anybody. So then he takes her to a brothel and takes her hat off. And he shows her, like, look, you ain't got to have sex for baby making. You can have sex just for the hell of it. And nobody can tell you anything about it. And that's when he started putting his advances on his niece. But little did Daemon know, she want that. Like,
Yeah.
she want that nigga.
I
And so
did hear that she was like super horny. Like she's like
super horny. Like, so she want that nigga. And he was like, yo, I'm good.
Yeah, chill out,
So
bro.
he stopped. He didn't even, he was like, I'm good. Bye. So trust me, he had all intentions to fuck the shit out of Rhaenyra that day. But he got impotent because he didn't think she wanted it back. So he was like, God. And he kind of was like, shoot, he didn't know his plan wasn't technically what he was saying. So
It's just a prank. Was it like a YouTube channel prank?
Yeah, prank.
About to fuck my niece, gone wrong in the brothel.
Yeah. So he ends up killing out, and she ends up leaving too. Somebody see her walk out. We'll get to that later. So as she goes to her room, her knight that she chose back here named Norris Cole was just standing there, and he was like, "Where the fuck you been at?" Because she left through the passageways, not the front door. Like, where the fuck you been at? And she was like, I was out of town. But she ended up taking this nigga like helmet. And he like, look, I need the helmet, give it back. And she kissed him. Like, hey.
He's like, whoa, hey, no.
And he was like, look, I can't do this. I'm a royal. There are stories of like King's Guards and Royal Knight. If they have sex, they get killed. One dude got his dick chopped off. So he like, yo, I can't do this. And she was like, what, you scared? So basically coerced him, kissed him. She was like, put that cloak down for me. And fuck that nigga right there. And,
in the passageway?
That was the passageway in her room.
I was to say, damn.
Yeah, right. And Norris Cole like, dang, what the hell did I do? So, mind you, Daemon did not penetrate her. He did not have sex with her. So Otto, how we talk about the hand of the king, got spies. And Daemon's girlfriend is one of his spies. The girl that he ran away with to have this claim and stuff like that is one of his spies. And she sent one of her little spies to spy on Rhaenyra at that brothel. And they told Otto. And Otto went to King Jaehaerys and like, look. So this nigga, if you ever seen the Take Care album cover
Mm-hmm.
of Drake, and he just sit at the table like this.
Yeah.
This nigga Otto knows that what he could do will make his grandson's name to the throne perfect. But he also knows telling King Viserys this will make this look. It will. He loves King Viserys. No matter all the scheming he does, he still has love for his king. So he was like, "Look, man, I ain't want to tell you this, but we saw Rhaenyra in a brothel." He like, and his king like, "So what? What does this matter to you? Why you spying on my daughter?" She fucked Daemon. He was like, so the king first thought was like, whoever told you this, I want them killed for treason. Do they know they speaking on their future queen? And he was like, look, I can't tell you I trusted my spy. It's true. He like, why do you give a fuck? He was like, why are you telling me this and why you give a fuck? He's like, look, man, this is what I saw. He was like, you've been scheming this whole entire time.
Nigga, you a bitch ass nigga.
Like, I need you to get dismissed from me. And he dismissed him. His daughter, because it's a horrible sex scene his daughter had. While Rhaenyra was getting bumped by Norris Cole, his daughter was getting bumped by the king, Otto's daughter, because, she making all the babies for him. And the king, because of the Iron Throne, he's infected with all these scabs. Ooh. Like, his fingers are gone. He got nothing but scabs on his back, and he just ramming her. And she like, I don't want to be here, but I have to be here. While Rhaenyra in the other room, getting her boots knocked.
And she enjoys. She like, yes, sir.
Yeah, she enjoys everything. So we come up to Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra gets approached by Alicent, the queen's wife, the one who hates getting fucked. And she like, yo, why you fucking your uncle? You know you ain't supposed to be doing this. You supposed to be a lady of the court. Rhaenyra lied and be like, look, I didn't do anything. I didn't do a thing, yeah? I didn't have sex with nobody. Can you believe me? So she lies, and what's her face lies to the king. But I think what's her face lying as well means that the king thinks in his head Rhaenyra lied, and he went to go ask. First he went to Daemon, beat the shit out of Daemon, but Daemon was drunk. He was like, I don't know what the hell I did last night. I'm about to drink my sorrows away. So he got drunk, and he was ordered to come to the king. King beat his ass and exiled him for a second time. And
well, they planting seeds for that boy to go crazy. G, he's just gonna be like, all right, you know what?
Daemon is gonna crank a Daemon. So he wants to go to Rhaenyra, and he told Rhaenyra to claim. He was like, Otto this whole time been plotting. The only reason he's saying this because he wants Aegon on that throne, which is her little brother. So he's like, that's the only reason this happened. And he was like, so what do you? He like the king, like, you think I don't know these niggas been plotting on me? You think I don't know these niggas? He was basically saying, you don't think I know what I'm going through? I can't trust nobody. He's like, what do you want me to do? She was like, you know what you got to do. So he goes to Otto. He like, yo, Otto. Before he go to Otto, he like, look, I'm gonna do what I need to do, but you're gonna marry the sea snake's son. And she was like, I got you. I'll marry the sea snake's son, but you got to handle Otto. So Otto came out. He talked to Otto. He like, come here, Joe. He was like, you served King Jaehaerys, which is Viserys' grandfather. You served him really, really well. But my father died shortly after, who was the hand of the king. No, he was like, you served my grandfather really well as the head of the king, but my father couldn't have did that, but he died mysteriously. The next thing you know, you became the hand. He was like, now, when my wife died, Alicent comes to my bedroom, and now your grandson is coming on the throne. You've been scheming this whole entire time. Basically telling like, yo, he's like, look, I want you to take that badge off. You're not the hand of the king no more. And I want you to go back to wherever you came from, Hightower or whatever. And he peeled out, and he got his Otto is dismissed from the court. And now, that's kind of like how the episode ends. So now a whole bunch of stuff. Now Alicent, with her father not being there, is going to feel some type of way to Rhaenyra. Daemon is going to find out like how he could get in Rhaenyra's pen, because the one thing he told Jaehaerys, as Daemon was getting beat up, he was like, "Look, nobody gonna want him because he, even though they didn't have sex, Daemon said they did. He was like, nobody's gonna want to marry your daughter now. She's not a virgin no more. So marry her to me." And Jaehaerys was like, "That's what you want? You want to become king that bad?" And he just started laughing. And now uh, Daenerys, I mean not Daenerys, Rainey is about to marry the Sea Smoke's daughter, the Black Targaryen. He's about to marry his son. But Kristen Cole is in that love triangle too, because she the one who took her virginity for real. So now it's this whole big conspiracy in that court. And at the end of the episode, the last very shot, Maester goes to Rhaenyra's room. He's like, "Drink this tea." He's like, "Why you give me this tea?" He was like, "Just in case you got any unexpected things coming in a month." It is basically he basically gave that bitch a plan B. And
Oh, true, because
they called it a plan T because of Targaryen.
yeah.
So next episode, it's
Why didn't Viserys finish the job though? Like why didn't he kill Otto? I would have killed Otto, like where he stood. Like just
because
like,
Otto was even though Otto was an asshole, Otto was still loyal. Like a lot of the reasons Jaehaerys' reign was really really good, and again Viserys' reign was good because Otto was a good hand. So and he's technically the third strongest house, so you can't really kill him.
no.
So he just dismissed him. Rhaenyra has a Omega octagon of a love triangle right now, but next episode is a wedding. So Nat she's getting wedded next episode, and I don't know because spoiler alert, she don't have no kids with the sea snake son, but she do have kids with Daemon. So I don't know what's about to happen to that nigga. But
That nigga finna die then.
that nigga about to die.
She finna die then.
But yeah, again, this season is really, 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 really good. The amount of money they putting into the show, we didn't even see that many dragons, but the amount of money they putting into the show is showing right then and there. It's really good. Like I tell everybody, get on the train. White people calling it Hot D. Black people call it House of Dragons, even though the name is the House of the Dragons. Black people just call it House Dragon. White people call it Hot D. It's very fire. Either way, everybody loving it. I'm enjoying it. Some of the book readers are getting like a little bit too, you know something good when the book readers are like, well, actually, it's getting real good in that way. So yeah, that's pretty much it on that, man.
99% of the problems could be solved. Them niggas kept their dick in it. It just reminds
this whole thing would have been avoided if that nigga just married the Sea Smoke's daughter, bro. The Sea Snake's daughter, bro. If he just would have married her and been like, "Yo, here you go," all this would have been avoided. But he wanted some of that Allison coochie.
It's just crazy. It's just like, it just reminds me of like Greek mythology and how like 99% of them problems is because Zeus couldn't keep his dick in his pants. But shout out to House of Dragon. I might check it out, even though I've been spoiled on it, but I still probably check it out. But what's with this man? What's with this man? George R. Martin and romancing uncles, nieces,
Targaryens,
nephews and aunties.
So Targaryens are incestual because of their blood. Yeah. So like Jamie and his sister, I can't think of her name, Queen
Cersei,
there you go. Jamie and Cersei, it's said that they're incestual because they've been around each other their whole entire life, so they fell in love with each other, right? It's not like Targaryen. Targaryens were always incestual because they wanted to keep the blood pure.
Right.
So the blood is like, apparently their blood, not everybody can bond with a dragon and stuff like that. So you got to have that dragon's blood flowing through you to bond with a dragon. And that's why, like, so Targaryens don't follow any religion that the regular King's Landing do. They tolerate it because they rule that kingdom. They rule the Seven Kingdoms. But they don't follow that religion. So incest with them is like just a common thing. Keep the blood right. Everybody else is like, nah, incest ain't right. This ain't by the seven. So Targaryens don't care. But George R. Martin reverts the whole incestual stuff because 9 times out of 10 they say you flip a coin, heads a Targaryen is peaceful, tails a Targaryen is mad. That's how it is. Whenever a Targaryen baby is born, you flip a coin. So it's kind of like because of that incest, and that's a common theme in the show. Because of incest, like Joffrey is insane because of incest. Um, the king before Robert Baratheon, the one that died, that Jamie Lannister killed, he is supposedly mad because of incest, even though it was really, really done poorly. Daenerys, who was never supposed to have, I want to say this, Daenerys is supposed to be the boast. Daenerys is supposed to be the Jesus Christ of the show. She's supposed to be peaceful. She has literally stopped slavery in other places. Like she is legit female Moses. But she went mad because of
The
the
bells.
Targaryen curse.
The bells wrong.
Fucking bells. So George R. R. Martin is a freaky dude as he is. Is always a cause and effect for certain things that them niggas do. So.
All right. Well, that's it for.
Can you see? Hold on. I want to see if you can see my screensaver. I want to, because Apple got this thing in which, and I know Droid had it before this, but everything Apple do since Apple was better. But my screen, you could like so this screen right here, I don't know if you can see it. Like this is technically like Goku, but this screen right here, it changes every time you turn your phone on. So if I like, that's the variant. So I like turn my phone on, like man, it's a different picture of Goku. Let me turn my brightness down.
I see it. Yeah.
It's like a different version of Goku, right? So I got but it's one of Daemon reading that note. He beat the dog shut up somebody after that. So that's literally the face when I read something now. But shout out to House of Dragons. So shout out to them.